Welcome to The Authentic Life with KL, the podcast where we throw out the rule book, where we dive in head first to the real and raw, unapologetic journey of living the best life. That includes lots of music. This is your go-to space for empowerment, for deep healing, and owning your authenticity like the boss that you are. We're here to break down walls and slay self-doubt. Vibe to the soundtrack of your soul. With every beat and lyric, we'll move through stories that heal and empower. You can live your fullest and most badass life. Welcome to The Authentic Life with KL. It's Kitty. Today I have with me Skylar Love.
Yes, I moved to Nashville 2 years ago. I'm originally from Philly, Pennsylvania. So when I first moved here, I said water all the time, and I still do. And everyone's like, "You're not from the South, are you?" And I'm like, "No." But yeah, no, I moved here 2 years ago. I love it. So much music, so much positive
Yeah.
energy. It's so great. There's such like a cool community here, and everyone's so welcoming and sweet, and Southern hospitality is no joke. So
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, one of my best friends is from Nashville, and so I come there. I say frequently, not as frequent as I need to, but definitely music lovers there, and just a whole
Yes.
different vibe. I'm from Oklahoma myself, and so
Gotcha.
her and I kind of go back and forth on like who is more Southern. On that.
Yes.
And so I was like, do you say pop or do you say soda? And she's like, everything's Coke. And I was like, no, it's pop. And so we go back and forth on those things.
A Southern off. I love it.
Yes, yeah, Southern
Amazing.
off. We do a Southern off. So how's Nashville treating you as far as the music scene? I saw that you have a lot of I say a lot, you had some concert dates and things like that.
Yes, yeah. Things typically like slow down, I feel, in December, especially when you're doing like original shows and everything. And so I did have like a good hefty amount of shows in October and September and everything, which was so much fun. And yeah, we're just trying to kickstart some shit and we're trying to get it going. In
Yeah.
2025, we're trying to make like a really good year. So, we're trying to get off to the races to do all
Yeah.
that. But I did have a lot of shows. I have a show coming up, but it's like in like this recording studio thing, and it's gonna be live streamed. It's really cool. I did it before. I did it just like it was just me, but it was so much fun, and I'm excited to do it like with a whole band kind of setting. It's gonna
That's
be
fun.
cool.
So when
Yeah,
you do
no.
your shows, are you typically by yourself and do kind of acoustic, or do you have a band that usually goes around with you?
So I have an entire band. Like when I say entire, I mean like it's me, my drummer, and my guitar
Right,
player, and
right.
then so crazy full.
Yeah.
But no, we played a backing tracks because the stuff that I do, like with the stuff that I put out, is very like electronic-y, but also like mixes with that whole rock element because I love rock, I love
Hmm.
metal, love all of that. So I mix all, but I also love like weird, creepy bass sounds. I love
Right.
like
No, I feel that. I feel that. Yeah.
right? Like I love just something weird, something that just kind of makes you be like, what am I listening to? That's what I like. But yeah, so we like incorporate that into the music, and so we played a backing tracks and everything, and it sounds really awesome, and it sounds full and fun, and it's just so much fun going out and playing because I love doing it. I put together a whole little show, and it's just
Yeah.
being on
Is it
stage,
kind
my
of
thing.
a dream? Is this something that you've always wanted to do and you're able to see it coming into fruition? Or is it something that just kind of spun up real quick?
Definitely something that I've always wanted to do. I am a Leo, so I'm a little attention whore, and
Right.
and it's great and it's awesome. I love being on stage. I love performing. I'm just like constantly somebody who wants to like entertain people, like even just in my everyday life. I love it. It's fun. And yeah, I've been doing this so long and I love it. I don't ever get bored of it. It's not a hobby, like it's my lifeline. I love it so much. When
Yeah.
I was like 2 years old, I have a picture. We were in Canada and there was this band playing and and I went up on the stage and I sang like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. And I wish I had a video of it. I don't know, I
Yeah.
might somewhere, but it's like, but I've always just loved like I don't have stage fright either, which is so weird. Like I'm more awkward off stage than when I'm
That,
on.
that's so interesting that you say that because I'm one that, like, for me to go say live and do the live classes and do the podcast and things like that, it's very outside my box because I am
Yeah.
way more comfortable not doing it. But I find that there's the two different, if you're really great at being up front on stage and all eyes on you, then sometimes you're kind of like a little different off stage. Like it's not always the same personality on both. I
Oh yeah.
sometimes we talk about having like an alter ego type thing and I mean my name's Kitty, but my name's Jillian is my real name, but Kitty is my nickname. So it's like
Eh,
you kind of switch back and forth. It's like, who am I?
oh, absolutely. That's how I feel. I always say that like when I'm on stage, like right now I feel like I'm playing up Skylar Love. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like
right, right.
that's
Yeah.
who I feel I'm playing up, and like when I'm in front of people I'm like, ah, boo in your face.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
when I'm alone and like with my family, like I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's very much me, like
Sure,
most of the
sure.
time
Yeah.
between everything, but also like with my family, like I'm like you'll see like a chill side of me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but I like to I have ADHD, so I'm very all
I do
over the
too.
place, unmedicated with that. So
Same.
you know,
So,
exactly. So you
yeah.
get it.
No,
But
no.
I enjoy it. I love it. It's fun to let my brain run wild. It was not fun in school. I
Yeah.
was so bad. I dropped out of school. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah. You're like, that's where I'm at. Well, I mean, it seems to be working for you right now. I
Yeah.
don't, like it said, I don't know how long you've been doing, like as far as the music that you're putting out, but when you reached out to me and I sat down and listened and I was like, oh, like your lyrics are of substance and it's not, and I talk a lot on the podcast about some people write lyrics and it's like, this sounds like a good story. And then some people, and those are okay. Like we all need those songs, right, to get through life,
Yeah.
like, boots with the fur or
Yeah,
whatever. Like we need those.
absolutely.
But then you have the ones that it's like, is there something deeper to that? And so to kind of go into that, like how has your music and you having the ability to write, how has that impacted your mental health as far as helped you? Has it helped your mental health?
Oh, absolutely. Like that keyboard behind me right there,
Mhm.
my parents got that for me when I was 11 years old. And like they didn't know it at the time, but I was deeply, deeply struggling, like on the verge of like like wanting to
Right,
be on the out. And
right.
you know, it's something that I talk about a lot, I advocate for because like mental health is so, 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 so important to me. Because it's something that I have struggled with and something that I do
Mhm.
struggle with still to this day, you know. But they got it for me and my TV just turned off. Thank you. I'm
I'm
using that as
telling you,
my
it's
own
weird
personal
energy.
ring light. Um, but yeah, no, they got that for me when I was 11 and they didn't know that I was really even struggling, but I wrote my first song when I like my first like real song when I was 11, and it was called No Matter How Hard I Try, and it was literally about me being in love with this like girl, and I was like, what do I do with that emotion, that feeling?
Yeah,
Like that's is that right? Because you know you're 11 and like you're like,
yeah,
wait, I don't like a girl like in a way where it's just like, oh, you're my best friend. Like
yeah,
no, like I see you as like if like a guy were to see you, which
yeah.
was like a hard thing to like navigate. And then, I ended up coming out to my parents. My parents are so supportive, so
That's
extremely
great.
they're the sweetest people ever. And I am so forever grateful for that because I don't know what I would do without that kind of
Yeah,
support.
yeah.
I meet so many people who are like, who just don't have that type of support system in their home life and in their just like everyday life, and I hate that so much. So when I'm writing, I truly am like, let me talk about the creepy uncomfortable thing that we don't want to
Yeah.
talk about. Let's talk about, the things that make you like, oh, I don't want to talk about this. I don't know if we should talk about this. Like, let's do it. Let's
But
have
it's
the uncomfortable
so
conversation.
good. It's so good to do because the
Yeah.
more, we'll always say, but it's always the more you talk about it, the more people realize it's normal. Like us
Oh,
not talking about it, everybody thinks something's wrong with them.
absolutely. There's so many times where like I just want to like I'm not a social media person by any means.
Mm.
I actually hate social media. I want to
Right.
blow it up.
Right,
I hate
right.
it so much. But unfortunately it's like a necessary now. But I always just want to like post and be like, are you guys like, do you guys understand this? Like, do you guys feel the way
Yeah.
that I do? Because I'm not crazy, right? Like, this is real. I just had posted stuff about a song that I just put out called Fist Fight, and it received such well, that made no sense, that sentence. It received so many great um comments on it, and it was so sweet to see everyone be like, yeah, wait, I feel this. I know about this feeling because
Yeah.
I had a situation where we've all had those situations where we've been friends to and assholes to our friends, and
Yeah.
we've hurt people's feelings. And no one wants to, whenever you're telling somebody about like your life story, you like leave out those bits of information. You're like,
Right.
no, I never hurt anybody. I'm a saint. I'm awesome.
Right, right.
Because you don't want to talk about that. That
Mhm.
sucks. But I've like, I'll be an asshole, but I'll admit it. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
think that's like something that makes me not an asshole because I can actually admit it and
Well,
be like,
because
ah,
accountability, I think that the accountability, so many people are comfortable running from the mistakes, whereas I think that if you stand and you're like, yeah, I totally fucked that up, like it's like,
absolutely.
okay, I guess, okay, this is normal. It's just there's so many things that make us feel like we're alone, and it's just we're not.
Oh, absolutely. Like there were so many people who are like, oh my gosh, get the cameras out of my bedroom. Like, you know my exact situation. And
Yeah,
I'm like, because this is so normal. This is so normal,
yeah,
Like, this is such a normal situation that we all go through. We've all been
yeah.
through it. But how many songs out there are like, yeah, I fucked up, forgive me,
No.
there's not many. Like literally the pre-chorus or whatever the hell I call that part of the song is literally like, I know just what I did. I can't take back what I said.
Mhm.
I want to throw up from feeling so guilty. Like
Yeah,
it's like, I feel when I was writing that I was like, shit, I
yeah,
really hurt somebody. I
yeah.
really, really hurt somebody, and I feel really bad about it, and I never meant to. And it's like all about basically like punch me in the face because that might make you feel better. So
Yeah. Well, and it's funny the synchronicity of I always do at noon every day. I do like a live, and we talk about like what does the universe want us to know today? And the one today is like forgiving yourself because you really
yes,
didn't know. You chose the best option at that very second of what you thought was the right thing to do, even though you may realize it's not. But
absolutely.
so many times like the people around us may forgive us, but like we're so bad about forgiving ourselves. So I mean, yeah, like punching in the face would make me feel a lot better if we could just get past that point. Like, can you
That's
punch me so I don't have to hold like resentment towards myself too? Because because I'll feel bad because I really don't ever do anything on purpose to hurt people, but we do on
oh
accident a
yeah.
lot.
We're human. We're human.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. We're doing this for the first time,
Yeah.
Like, we're all trying to navigate through it. I mean, I believe that in reincarnation, I believe we've been through this
Yeah.
lifetime a million times over. But
But
also
this
at the same,
one, this one is the
exactly this
first.
lifetime, we're doing it for the first time,
Right, right.
And it's so true because forgiving yourself is the hardest part of the healing journey.
Mm,
You know,
yeah.
you can forgive anybody you want. You can, figure things out with anybody you want, but it's really like self-reflecting, and you got to look in yourself and be
Yeah.
like, "Ooh,
Yeah.
I need
That's
to
the
give myself the grace to
yeah,
be
it's
able
the
to heal."
tallest mountain to go is internal. That's
It
the
is.
tallest damn mountain.
Because I will literally like be laying in my bed at like, and it'll be like 1 in the morning. I'll be like, oh my gosh, oh my God, remember that
Mm.
thing I did like
Oh,
years ago? And that's the thing too. It's like, I would hate like in 10 years from now for something that I did when I was like 18, 17, 16,
yeah.
15, something like 19, like for that to define me
Yeah.
in 10 years from now. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
because everyone's going to perceive you, everyone's going to have their opinions on you, and everyone's going to talk about the person you are, and you can't do anything about that. You can
Yeah.
just advocate for who you are, who you know. But it's like that's really all you can do. I've kind of grown to like accept that because there was for so long I was just always like, oh my God, everyone's gonna have this opinion on me, and some people are gonna think I'm the worst person ever. Some people are gonna think I'm great. Like this is gonna sound really morbid and like fucked up, but like when I was younger, I used to like think about like my funeral. Like,
I
people would
don't
come
I
to my
mean, no, I think we're in good company. No, go ahead, because
Right? Like I would always think about like I still do to this day, like if I like died,
yeah,
like so, like people just being at my funeral, like what would they say? Like would people like be like, "Oh my God, she was a bright light. She was
yeah,
awesome."
y-
Like what would people say about me? Would I be
yep,
like something to be said about? But I think that's important too because you do want to leave an impact on people's
yeah,
lives. You do want to make a good name for yourself. You like, but I hate that it's like things and mistakes that we've done like determine who we are to those people, and then it's like there's nothing you can do about it because you're like,
yeah.
ah,
Yeah,
what,
it's
you'll
everybody
forgive
sees
me, so
the yeah, everybody sees the version of them of you that they got to meet. I mean, and that could be some pretty shitty person at some
I
points
no,
in our
it
life. You know,
was
it can be.
absolutely like last year, like I was really like falling down my weird mental rabbit hole. And I started off this year by going to the mental hospital. So hoping I don't start off next year in the same position.
Right, right.
But you know, I'm so glad I went because I was able to get medicated and figure myself out and just, you know, have a second to be like, okay, I escaped all that noise and I can just breathe and
Yeah.
figure me out and figure out what I need for myself. But before that, everyone that I was meeting and becoming friends with, I was being such an asshole and I thought I had to be this one person and the person that I was in 2023 is so not the me today. And
Yeah.
I'll look at pictures from last year and I'm like, "Ew, I don't even want to look at her." Like she was a bitch. Like she was
Yeah.
just gross. Like I don't like her. But also I at the same time I'm like, "Oh, she was struggling," you know?
Yeah.
And
Sometimes the hardest people on the outside are the ones that are just the softest on the inside. That's just the armor, that you put up.
absolutely, absolutely. And I think I also was surrounded by bad company and just
Mhm.
like people that I didn't necessarily want to be around, but I was just lonely and I wanted friends. And I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
and you know, it was a few months into like moving here. So, and like, it was like the beginning of 2023 and I was like, oh, I just want to make friends. I just want to have friends. And, you know, because I would isolate myself constantly. So it was I was kind of, it's like when you're just desperate for some type of company and some type of
Yeah.
feeling of, you know, having people around. It's kind of like you kind of befriend the first thing that comes in front of your face, and it sucks because it causes a bad situation for
Yeah. I
yourself.
mean, you learn who's really there, I think, I mean, we all have those situations to where we find ourselves and we're like, wait a second, does this person really have my best interest and all those different things? And it's just,
Absolutely.
yeah, very difficult learning. But usually, if we're smart about it, we don't have to relearn it again and again. That's
Yeah.
the goal. That's the goal, I
I
think, is not
pray to
to.
God I don't have to learn that again and again. Oh my God.
Yeah. So I was reading I'm going to talk about holy ground because I
Yes.
did read a little bit. I think on your Facebook you had talked about how long it took you to be vulnerable enough to write that song.
Yeah.
Could you mind talking a little bit about that?
Absolutely, please. Yeah, so Holy Ground is the first song that I like wrote for the EP that I'm putting out, and it was just it was something that came out so easily, but at the same time, I feel like when I'm writing songs, I don't ever know what the song is about until I'm actually finished writing it.
Yeah.
It's like strange how that works. Like I feel like so many people who even like don't write songs like think that I sit down and I'm just like, okay, idea time, brainstorm, let me go
Yeah.
through my list of things to write about. No, like I'll just start like writing and the first thing that comes out, like it's more so the song is telling me what it needs to be written about than me telling it. So it came out so easily, but at the same time it's like it was a very vulnerable thing because the lyrics in the song is just are very are personal to me, and I think I didn't realize how personal it was until after I was done writing it.
Mhm. There's some pretty
And
raw
like,
lyrics in there that I think a lot of people can absolutely connect to.
oh, yeah, no, and I hope so because make me feel a lot less alone,
All
make me feel better.
right.
But no, it's like, you know, the whole chorus is just like I'll hurt only if you want me to, and it's just it's very It feels very personal. And like I said, I don't think I really realized until I was done writing it. And I'm so glad I did because it's truly like one of my favorite songs that I have
Yeah.
written. It's one of my favorite songs to perform. It's so fun and cool. And it's just its own little thing. And I feel it's so unique, at least to me.
Yeah.
And I like, and then there's like heavy auto tune in the chorus, but I like wanted that to be there because the chorus is uncomfortable. Like the chorus
Hmm.
lyrics are uncomfortable, and I wanted that to match with the
Yeah.
thing that I was trying to sing about. And so, yeah, it's a very personal song to me, and I love it so much. And yeah,
Yeah.
but I think that I'm at a place now where I'm so happy with being vulnerable,
Mhm.
and I'm like, cool, I'm just gonna say anything now. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
like pour it
No,
out
I
on
love
one
the
beat.
rawness of it because it also, I think that, um, I think us having the transparent conversation about mental health and things like that, I think that going through the song, that unless you have struggled with mental health, you may not connect with the song in a way that people do because it is all over the place. And I'm ADD, so I can keep right up with it. It's like, yes, I
Right?
want to get that too. But like you talk about basically like sometimes feeling like a burden, and then you talk about like wanting to be divine, and all these different parts of it. And it's really, we just want to be seen and heard and loved for who we are. But I love that it talks about all those like raw emotions and things like that. And the people that need to connect to it are going to connect to it. Like there's no doubt.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the thing too. It's like, it's just kind of feel like the back looping back to what I was saying, like when you're desperate and the first thing in front of your face is the like thing that you're like, "Oh, cool. I'll take this because I have nothing else."
Yeah.
Like that's kind of what it is about. And I feel like in like looking back on it because I was
Mhm.
writing about that. I feel like I do this a lot by accident where I end up writing about a situation that I'm in currently and then like the future of what that situation is going to be, and I always say like, "Oh my God, I'm psychic. I'm just
Yeah.
like so intuitive." But also at the same time I think it's cuz I really do know on the inside what's going on,
Yeah.
but like my forward conscious won't like
Yeah. We
admit
don't
it
let us.
yet.
Yeah.
So it's like just a part of me knows that's going on.
Yeah.
And it's just me being like super intuitive about my situation and being like, "Oh, I do know what's going on." And I look back on that and I'm like, that would have saved me a lot of time if I
I
just
know, I know. It does so much. I mean, I would pride myself on being pretty intuitive and stuff. And
Yeah.
and we'll talk about like how do you receive information? Like, do you receive it, by like your dreams or like maybe with you? It's like basically it's channeling music or writing music is what it seems like. It's like you receive all these things and you're like, yeah, I know this is going to be a bad situation, but I really love it. It feels great. So I'm just going to keep it for now. And then in the end, you're like, God, I knew it. I knew
Yeah,
it.
absolutely, absolutely. That's exactly how I feel. There's so like even right now I feel that way like about a situation that happened a few months ago with some guy. I'm like, fuck, that would have been so nice because I wrote a song literally about him, and I look at the song now and I'm like, oh God, that was literally I was reading the situation to filth and I just wasn't acknowledging. I was like, oh, it feels so great right now, so I'm just gonna keep it around. Like
Uh-huh.
it's and I'm like, oh, that sucks so bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like I go through that a lot where I'm just
Yeah.
like, ooh, I'm so comfortable in a situation that
Mhm.
fuck it, I'm gonna let myself get hurt because I'm just comfortable
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah, we talk about like, is it a trigger or a trauma response? Because that all plays into everything. So is
Yeah.
it my intuition or wait, it's probably just a trauma response. So I'm just gonna stay right here and do this. I don't want to run too quick. And it's like, no, no, no. You have to learn to like trust yourself and love yourself enough now to like start seeing things. But it's so hard because we crave that comfort so much.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing too. Like, I have a song called, Dirty Secret, and that song is like fully about a situation that happened where I was completely taken advantage of and I was manipulated into thinking something else. And it was just a really tough, weird situation that I went through. And I like it had to do with a lot of like, sexual trauma that I have dealt with in the past.
Mm.
And it was something that was coming up now. And I just thought all those red alarms going off in my body were
Yeah.
like just a trauma response instead of
Yeah.
just being like, oh no, it's because you're genuinely uncomfortable,
Yeah.
Skylar. Like, you know what I
It's
mean?
so difficult though to navigate through that, isn't it? Like I don't
Absolutely.
think people, I think uh people who haven't gone through the healing process, or maybe they don't err on the side of being more spiritual or connected or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But it is really difficult sometimes if you've lost your ability to trust your intuition and then
Yeah.
you're trying to regain it. And then you're also there with old triggers and trauma responses and things like that. Like, how do you navigate? I don't believe myself, but then this feels pretty comfortable. But then which is it? It's extremely difficult.
Oh yeah, like when I first got to like the mental hospital, like literally like a few days later, they were like I had to like do like an evaluation kind of thing,
Mhm.
and we were talking about stuff that would like further help me after I got out,
Sure.
and they were like, "Hey, like I don't think you need to be really in here particularly. I think you need like sexual trauma like help."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Ah." And you know, that like helped me unpack a lot of issues that I
Mhm.
really haven't, dealt with and haven't really, unloaded.
Yeah.
And that sucks because I always tried to pride myself on like, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm
Yeah.
awesome. I'm
Yeah.
cool. I got over it. But I never really gave myself any
Yeah.
grace periods of to be just like, yeah, I'm healing. I'm letting myself hurt over it.
Yeah.
I always felt like I just had to get right back up on my feet and be like, okay, I'm ready to go. Like I'm fine. And I think that caused a lot of problems,
Yeah.
because I never allowed myself to just be like, okay, I'm gonna sit here for a second and let
Yeah.
myself breathe. And so I was just go, 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 go. Like when I was 11, like when my parents got me that piano and everything, I was struggling so bad because in October, like I was sexually assaulted, and that is something that like I still carry with me like to this day. And you always think to yourself like, "Oh, I'm gonna get over it" because it
Yeah.
happened so long ago, but you don't. Like you genuinely don't get over those
Yeah.
types of things. You have to figure out how to navigate life with it now.
Yeah.
And that's such a shitty thing because like I have had sexual trauma, and then to have a situation like that happen recently where it's like, ah, fuck. I could, like,
Yeah.
I wish I had noticed all those
Yeah.
signs.
You're like, I was over it. I knew I was over it. Like, why would that play into effect? Yeah.
Absolutely. And it
Yeah.
sucks so bad because yeah, I have to try to remind myself, don't beat yourself up about it
Yeah.
because it's not your fault by any means that, you thought so. Like, of course, you want to believe that everyone has good intentions. You
Yeah.
do, but then
You
you also
do.
have to come to the reality of life that it's not all
Yeah.
gumdrops and lollipops and it's
Yeah.
really like people are shitty people. Like there's
Yeah.
bad people out there who don't want the best for you, who want to hurt you.
Yeah.
And I'm just glad that I'm in like a safer space now and I genuinely have good people in my circle and I vet people better. I don't just say, "Here,
Yeah.
come be my best
Yeah.
friend right now."
Yeah,
And
no, I think that do you think that having the trauma that you have, I think sometimes that puts us in the situation of being a people pleaser. Have you had that to where, they're bad for you, but you really want them to like you and
yeah.
you've had that? Okay. I was like, that seems to be something that's pretty common with
Oh
it.
my
And I
goodness.
think moving
Absolutely.
through
I
that is hard.
It is, it's so hard because it's like you just my whole life I feel like I've always been
Yeah.
that because I just like I never was really liked in school.
Mhm.
Like I was like a weird kid. I was like
Right.
I was like a weird kid who like weighed 2 pounds. Like it was so small and tiny, and I was
Right.
just like, be my friend. But then I would go and like be creepy and read a book by a tree all recess. So I was like, I can't really, believe
Yeah,
anyone.
no, I listen, I think that makes us the best kind of people because me and my best friend were like, I love scary movies. I love murder shows, but like I'm the nicest person, truly. Like I have the best heart ever. And I know I'll absolutely claim that. But I have the darkest, weirdest thoughts. Like I don't want to go in dark water because I'm scared I'm gonna step on somebody that's dead that's under the water. so
Oh my God,
so
that's a new fear now.
new fear unlocked. I was like,
Yeah, literally.
but it is those weird like things. It's like, I don't know if I want to do that, but it's, that's the best of us. I think we have a little creepy and I'm a little creepy, a little girly, a little weird.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
fun.
That's the best kind to be.
I know.
Just unapologetically you. I
Yeah.
like truly, I'm like that too. I literally before we hopped on this call, I was literally getting ready watching a true crime thing on my phone. I love true crime
I
because I
do
love,
too.
you know, there's a thing my mom was doing this thing for because she went back to college like online and stuff, which and she just graduated, so yay mom.
Yay,
Woo!
mom.
I know, right?
Yeah, I love that.
She's a degree now. I don't know what in exactly, but she has one.
Doesn't matter. She
And
went back and got it.
exactly, which I'm so proud of her for.
I love that.
But she was doing this thing with like horror stuff. I don't even know. It was something for film, and it was like why people watch horror movies, and there's like different types of people and why they watch them, and like some people are like thrill seekers, some people like genuinely like to watch the gore, some people like it for the special effects, some people like it for the heroine of the story. Like I feel like I love true crime because I love to watch people just get like thrown in jail, and I like to be like, ha ha, you.
Right? You like the bad guy. I think I love Rob Zombie movies, and they are so absolutely like you talk about thrasher films like that.
Yeah,
That is like some of the most like grotesque, but I'm still
absolutely.
like, but they're still a family.
Right?
They still love
Do,
each other.
do you like Art the Clown? Those movies?
Yeah.
You do? Yeah, I watched the new one with my mom and I was like, "Oh, this is horrifying, but I love it because I love special effects. I really do.
Yeah.
I think they're
Yeah.
so fun. I love them. I love film and all that. But
Yeah.
that's the thing too. I'm such a visual person.
Yeah.
Like whenever I'm writing and stuff, I the first thing that goes through my head when I'm writing, I'm like, "Okay, so music video." And everyone's like, "Slow down." And I'm just
You're
like,
like, no,
"No,
no, no.
I love visuals." I also
Yeah.
like I have like synesthesia, which is like where you see like colors and shapes and numbers for
Hmm.
everything. And like truly everything has like a smell and a color and a taste and a shape to me. And
I
all the
love
songs that I
that.
write are done in the way that because I see it that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I love
it's
that. You
but I
would be a great aura reader if you could get your mind to calm down enough. Like you know what I'm saying? Like sit there because to read auras a lot of time you have to like sit back and kind of like let your mind like relax a little bit. And usually
yeah.
we're like, but
Right? I'm
but
so all over the place that I don't think I probably would be
yeah,
good at it if I could
yeah,
ever
yeah. Because
like
if you have that to
be
where you see
sedated.
that, you're gonna see that far more than like say the average person would. You would see the colors and things like that.
Do you want to know something so crazy? I was like literally on a live stream and I was doing a reading for my friend. Mind you, like I hadn't talked to this friend for so long, so I
Mhm.
had no idea what was going on in her life. And I started doing a reading for her and she was like, "Skylar, you're like actually freaking me out because this is so accurate." And
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh my God, I feel so cool and powerful." So I was like, "You know what? I've never done a reading for like just some random person that I actually
Mhm.
have no idea who they are." So I picked someone in the live stream and I did their reading and they're like, "Okay, are you like actually psychic? Like how do you know
Yeah.
this?" Because I just started like pulling things like out
Yeah.
because I felt it and I could see it.
Yeah, I
I was
could
like,
see that with you. Yeah. No, I could.
I was like,
Yeah.
this is so cool. And I was so excited. Do you want to see my Owen Wilson Jesus candle?
Oh, I love that so much.
Sorry, I was
No,
looking
I
it into
love
the
it.
corner and I
He's
was like,
looking
what
at
an
you.
appropriate time to
I
show.
love that. No, I think you definitely I think that that's amazing. I do readings and things like that all the time, but yeah, I could see that with you having that. That's such a gift because not everybody has that, to be
No,
able to
yeah.
just see things like that. So sometimes people ask me about, well, how do you see things? And I'm like, well, it's hard to say. I see, but I don't really see it with my eyes. But like, I
You
just,
like no,
yeah.
that's the thing. It's such a hard thing to explain because I love the paranormal and everything,
Hmm.
and I see full on like shadow figures. I
Yeah.
see things, and I saw a shadow figure that was so real and vivid on my stairs. I thought it was my little sister at first, and I like actually shit my pants because it
That's
scared
good.
me so
Yeah.
bad. And yeah, I was like, "Whoa, that was so vivid and crazy." And it was
Yeah.
like some tall dude with like I could see him, but at the same time I couldn't. It was almost like I could see him in my head, but I could see him
Mhm.
in real. It was so weird. It was
Yeah,
crazy
it's a
experience.
really weird when you start like pulling out like how do you receive information? It's like if you receive like if you do numbers and colors and things like that, it's so interesting because that comes through so strong and you can
Yeah.
carry that through. My friend that lives there in Tennessee, she does Revelation Paranormal, and so she's a paranormal investigator. Yeah. And so I'll have to connect you guys or something sometime because that's
Please.
what she does. And she lives right actually in Murfreesboro.
Oh
And
my
so
gosh.
yeah, so she does all those things, and she does different places around there and like the cemeteries that are by you guys and stuff. So she does all that. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I want to go on an investigation with her.
Yeah, no, it's quite interesting. It's just really neat how everybody receives the different information. So yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
Oh my
no, I'll
gosh.
connect you guys. Yeah.
Please. I would love that
Yeah,
actually.
yeah. That's so fun. So the other song I want to ask you about, and then we can just continue chatting, is Confess.
Yes.
Okay, so I want to ask you about this because I feel like this line was so impactful for me. Put me in a box so you can play God.
Yes.
Because I feel like we are stuck in our boxes constantly. And I've been involved in things before to where people literally will do everything they can to keep you inside of a box and to maintain control
Yeah.
of you. And you not, can you talk to me about those lyrics or that song?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, it's like I wrote that song. It's so weird because like it's so funny though because Confess was supposed to be so slow and dreary, and I like have the original recording of it, and it's so like cute, and I'm like, oh, this is so sad, and because it genuinely was like, and looping back to just being like a shitty person sometimes. It's like I genuinely was writing that in like in a way of me being like, yeah, let me like confess about the shit I've done. Let's confess about the shit you've done, you know? Let's just
Yeah.
all talk
One big
about it. Let's
confess party.
right big confess party. I love it. But yeah, so when I was writing that, it was supposed to be like this very sad song. So I feel like the lyrics are pretty like sad in my head.
Mhm.
But at the same time they're like upbeat and
Yeah, it's
dark.
a good song. It's a good song.
Thank
I
you.
played it several times
Oh my
before I
goodness.
was listening. I was like, "Oh, I like it." I'm such a fan of like the blend that you do on it. So
Yes. Oh
yeah, I
my
like it.
goodness. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. That's so nice. But
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, no, I like that chorus. I love that chorus so much because it's like I feel like it's just such there like you said, you put it perfectly, honestly. You stole the words out of my mouth. Like so many people do put us in a box.
Yeah.
We put ourselves in a box.
Yeah. We
There's
allow
so many
it. And
people who do try to play God in our
yeah.
lives. And I don't want to be controversial, but like I kind of wrote it also like in a lot of religious type of settings, you know, it like there are a lot of bad shitty people in
Mhm.
churches, and you
Yeah.
know, and like there's a lot of creepy people in churches.
Well, I
Like
think I mean I think religion, the organized religion puts God, source, universe, whatever you believe in a box.
yeah,
Because if it was really God and all encompassing, then why would you say it's only this is what can happen? You know,
absolutely.
it's so much bigger and there we
Absolutely.
go, putting it in a box. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it's so true because it's like you don't know what the hell is out there. You don't know
Nope.
what that is. And I think that that's so important to talk about because to me, like when I like, and I feel like it is like when you think about it, like I genuinely wrote about it with a vision of being in a confessional booth. And I genuinely
Mm.
was thinking like, you're put in a box and somebody next to you is quite literally trying to play God. He's sitting there
Oh,
being
that's so
like,
good. Yeah.
tell me your issues, tell me what you've done, confess to me. And it's like, who are you?
Yeah. How
You
much
know what
how about you start first, bro?
right? Like,
Like
let's
you
talk
start
about what
first.
you've done. Well, and that's the thing too, like in that second verse, I also say, like, you know, you call that a fucking degree to call little girls a whore. And
Mm-hmm.
it's so true because there's people in churches who turn around to little girls and make them so feel so invalidated, and they act like it's the 50s, and they'll make these little girls so insecure. And I feel like our society is so built on the foundation of let's rise up men and like let's continuously put down young women and young girls and growing babies. Like these are babies, and
Yeah.
because I think that that's so important to talk about. And I think a lot of it starts with religion, a lot of it starts in our schools, and just what the general public thinks. It's so sad. Like I saw this thing where someone was posting a bunch of like t-shirts that were meant for like young girls versus young boys. And it was just creepy because it was like these girl shirts that were like they were like I love princesses and I'm gonna break hearts. And then the guy shirt was like math, I'm a genius, I'm gonna go to college. And
Yeah.
it's like who
Yeah.
are we? Like we're
Yeah.
just weird things that are just like, hee hee, I'm here. Like,
Yeah.
no, women are strong as shit and they're cool and they're badass.
It's very true. And I host women's retreats, women's healing retreats, and hands
Oh,
down have been some of the best things. And I've met some of the best people ever doing them. And I love to look at it if you're a woman and whatever, everybody can say whatever, but if you physically have a uterus, you can bring a spirit or something from the other plane to this plane. Like we
hmm,
are the creatures that can do that. Like there
yeah,
is no other, it's not, and I'm not dismissing like men, like there is this perfect balance between the masculine and feminine, whether
yeah,
you're no matter what your preference is, who you like, whatever, like there is masculine and feminine within all of us.
yeah,
And I think that there is this huge, huge rise of the masculinity with and there is all the feminine trying to heal. And
yeah,
it's like at some point, like the balance has to like balance, you would think. Um, but there's healing on both sides because I feel like there's too much of this, but then there's not enough of this. And it's like,
hmm,
how are you supposed to balance that out with only, a certain percent trying to do that healing on that? Because,
yeah,
women are overly emotional. This is generalized for everybody that's going to come at me. This is generalized. Like women are overly emotional. They're this, they're that. And then men are like strong and they take care of everything. And, but who says that?
do you
Like
know how
it's
many times I have to ask my dad, are you on your period?
I
Are
know,
you
I
kidding?
know. I'm like,
Men,
I'm like, who
I'm
says
sorry.
that? Like,
I love that generalization because it's so funny to me because because like, yeah, you know what? Like, I will be the first to admit, like, I'm a sensitive bitch. I am. Like,
right,
I will
right,
cry if you say, like, I don't like you. Like, I'll be like, oh, why? But
right, right.
at the same time, it's like, it's so funny to me why people are like, oh my gosh, you're like, woman can never be a president because she's gonna just blow up the country and start a war because she's so emotional. It's like,
Fact. No,
I'm like, I'm sorry. Let's take a look at all the people who have been presidents,
I
all men,
know.
correct? And
Yeah.
all the wars we've had.
Yeah, no.
Started by
I
who?
yeah, no, it's true. I just think that there's like it's so interesting the dynamic of it all just across the world. It doesn't matter what
Yeah.
country you're in. It's like there is such an imbalance on masculine and feminine, whether it be within a person. Like I don't care if people are straight, gay. You like the UFO and aliens. Like I don't care. Like there
Yeah.
is just this imbalance, and it's like so many things can be healed when people are able to come back into their balance. When I don't have to like be in a situation to where I have to do everything or, I don't have to heal everything either. Like there's just such a balance in it and it's not balanced.
Exactly. It's not balanced. It's
It's not
all over the
balanced at
place.
all. So,
Literally, it's so bad. And
mm,
I totally agree with you. There is a feminine energy within everybody. There's a masculine energy
yeah,
within everybody. I think that there's a lot of masculine energy in me, and I love that. You know what I
right.
mean? But I also think that there's that masculine energy is also feminine energy. Because like, who's to say that like feminine energy can't be strong and awesome and and
Absolutely.
cool? Like, I hate this stipulation that feminine energy is just like, hee, I want to paint my nails and go shopping.
100%. No, that's what I'm
Like,
saying. It's like
no.
there is this big misconception and a big like imbalance of things. And I think with what the modern day says, like masculine and feminine has to be, it makes all of us look at ourselves and think that something's wrong with us because we don't fit into this standard that everybody pushes out.
Yeah,
And it's like masculine and feminine, it can be whatever, whatever seem fit. It's all within all of us. So why does it have to be one specific thing? So yeah.
absolutely. And
Yeah.
truly, like, that's why I wrote that line because I feel like there is so much of that. And I feel
Mhm.
like, and I also, like, in school systems. Like I always hated. I wanted to like get up and like punch the teacher in the throat every time that they would
Yeah.
be like, no spaghetti straps,
Oh,
no tank tops for girls, cause what? My shoulders will provoke you. You're a grown man, you creep. Like, ew.
I
Like,
know. I
I'm an
know.
8-year-old girl and it's hot outside. I'm gonna put on shorts and a
Yeah.
tank top.
No, I know. I
Like, leave me
recently the other
alone.
day said to my husband, I was like, I don't know why it just hit me. And I've known this my whole life, but had I known differently, I never would have taken your last name. Like, that's very patriarchal. Like, I don't want to do that. Why did but I
Right?
was
Like,
like,
why can't I have
like,
mine?
why didn't I just see? No, but I think that it is. It's just, I think everybody is starting to maybe awaken a little bit more and see things a little differently. And I love that part of it. But I think navigating through it is going to be like the trenches because there is so much like imbalance from what society deems as appropriate versus what we actually are, if that makes
For
sense.
sure, for sure. I totally agree with that. I think that there's so much that goes into it that, we could have a 5 million hour long
Oh, yeah.
conversation about it because
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I have thoughts and opinions, baby. And
I
I
hear
don't
you.
and
I hear
and
you.
I think that it's just so the world that we live in truly is so cruel and so mean. And
Yeah.
there's like you said, there's so much imbalance between everything. And I really wrote Confess about a wide spectrum of so many things because I do love songs that feel very elusive almost, and you
Mhm.
can just interpret it however you'd like to. And
Right.
I think that you can do that honestly with every song, truly, because interpretation is everything. It's like anybody's always going to get the other story out of something, the thing that they resonate with the most.
Yeah.
I saw this like cartoon thing, and it was just like little character, and I think they're called Moomins or something, and they're so cute. And it was this clip, and it was so sad. This little Moomin thing went into like a hat, and then he like transformed into this like creepy monster, and everyone was like, you're not Moomin, you're not Moomin. And then the mom came home, and she was like, for just 1 second, if I look into your eyes, I'll be able to tell that you're my Moomin. And they looked into each other's eyes. She was like, oh, you are my Moomin. And then that made
Mm.
him turn back. But I think that I like started writing a song around that because I was like, to me, that resonated with my mental health. I was
Yeah.
like, that felt like very like, ooh, even though, like I said, I have been a shitty person. I have maybe
Yeah.
been not recognizable to some people because of the things I was struggling with.
Mhm.
But, all it takes is that one person to be like, you're still you. Like, you are
Yeah.
still you. But I was explaining that to my one friend, and it was so sweet. She's like, honestly, that like reminded me of like, before I even said what my interpretation of it was, she was like, it reminded me of like being gay and like coming out to
Yeah.
people. And I was like, that's so cool because we all
Yeah.
interpret things differently and we all
Yeah.
see things differently. And I was like, that's so sweet.
Mm.
And I love that.
Yeah.
But I think that, again, that's why I kind of talk about like a wide spectrum of
Yeah.
things. Obviously, some
It's so
songs will be
it's so
more
important. Yeah.
straightforward. Yeah, it is so important. But, Confess really is kind of like all over the place because it talks about so many different things. But at the same time, there's still one single message and
Yeah.
the core value of the whole thing, which is just stop putting people in boxes
Yeah.
and
And
just
it's so interesting when you talk about the aspect of going to a confession and being put into a box because that is what the religion does. I mean that's what all
yeah.
of them do. And so
Uh-huh.
for you to be like, yeah, you're literally putting me in a box, that's literally what they do. And even if you're not talking about say the confessional box, like we're talking about boxes, like don't you dare step out of that. And the only way we can expand and grow is to step out. But then when we step out and grow, we
It,
learn more and that becomes really dangerous. you know.
Absolutely. And that's the thing, like going into like the second chorus, like it's literally like what? It's whisper, let me whisper in your ear, wash the blood right off my hands. You could be my puppeteer. I think I'd given all I can. It's
Mhm.
truly like all that is really like directed at Christianity, truly.
Yeah.
And also living here, like in the Bible Belt, there
Mhm.
is a lot of, not great outlooks and opinions of people, especially
Yeah.
people who are in different communities and people who are just expressing themselves differently. I literally had a woman, I used to work at Starbucks. I had I had like crazy hair. Which I missed so much, but my hair was falling out of my head. So I was like, I have to do something normal for a second. But I had like orange on top and like
Mhm,
underneath, it was like ghost roots, and then the rest was like yellow. It was so
mhm.
cool. But I like went to work and everyone's like, oh my gosh, your hair looks so cool. Cause everyone at Starbucks is gay and expressive and I love it, including me. And
Right, right.
but like this lady like rolled up to the window and she was like, that's an interesting hair choice. And I was like, I was like, it's
Well,
so
thank you.
I know, but I literally said to her, I was like, "Oh, thank you so much,"
Oh,
and she
yeah.
did not like that I took that
Yeah.
as a compliment at all. But it's so true. There's so many people here who
Yeah.
so look at you and they're like, "Oh, I don't like that you're expressing yourself," and I'm like, "Why? Because
Yeah.
you don't want to express yourself?
Yeah.
That sounds
What I always say, what part of, like, if someone is so judgmental upon someone else, it's like, what part of them makes you so insecure? And a
yeah,
lot of times, I mean, you can blind it by like religion or whatever crap people want to say, but in the
yeah,
end, usually it is because you're free to express yourself and they are not free to express themselves. So you need to go in a box. That way they don't feel so bad about themselves. And I just, it's always so weird to me that there has to even be like that stipulation on like who you care to love. Like, I just don't
oh,
care. Like, I
yeah,
just,
right. It's like let people live, you
yeah,
weirdos, you
yeah,
freaks.
yeah. I've always said that to my kids. I don't really care as long if you can find someone that loves you. Like, you trying to limit it to one specific like gender is crazy because it's hard
Yeah,
enough to find someone that you truly connect with. That I just don't understand why people care. You know?
absolutely. It's like just be you. Just be
Yeah,
you. And it truly is. It's so
yeah,
many people who are just deflecting
yeah,
off of their own personal issues. They've got problems of their own.
yeah,
And that sucks and I feel bad, but it's also like, I'm a big believer of, yeah, you can obviously your problems are going to ultimately they're going to come out on other people. That happens.
yeah.
We're human. We can only bottle it up for so long. But if you continue to go through life just being a miserable
Right.
asshole and never decide to fix it, then that's just your problem. Like that's just you.
Yeah, it
Like
is.
and that sucks because it's like you don't have to be that, but they're choosing to be that. And
Yeah.
I've always made it a goal of mine. Like when I was going to therapy, like something that my therapist always used to say to me was like, do you ever find yourself like judging other people just like
Right.
to yourself, not even like out loud, just to yourself? You'd like look at that person, you're like, ooh, like, and I was like, yeah, I do that, and that's
Yeah.
mean. That's like not cool.
Yeah.
And it's only human. We do it. We do that kind of stuff, but at the same time, to watch it and like focus on it and like point it out when you're doing it is such like a crazy thing because you never realize how much you are sitting there judging other people and looking at what they're doing and paying attention to everyone but
Right.
yourself. And then you're like, oh, that's horrible. That's mean.
Yeah.
Um,
And usually it's reflective upon something that's within. Cause I know I'll use the example often. Like, my husband used to play in a band and we go to a bar and listen. And I remember one time sitting at the table, and I'm one that will sit back like and watch. And there was a girl and she was up dancing on the table, and she was not dressed like, not that I care, but she wasn't dressed inappropriate. Like, that wasn't my problem. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, she's just up there dancing. And like in my mind, I was thinking this. And now several years later, I understand that I was like, oh my gosh, everybody's watching her. Does she not care that everybody's watching her? Realizing like I don't have that freedom. Like,
yeah.
why am I judging her because she's living her best life? Like, maybe I should just, drop down some laws and live my best life. Like,
That,
why? And
absolutely.
and it just took that time to like reflect back, and it's like, oh, that's me. That's not even her.
Exactly. Like turn the tables and quite literally be the one on the table,
Right?
dancing on it. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's
Like, why
super
do they
important.
care?
Something that I tell like that's the thing when I'm hanging out with my friends, I am so okay, I'm so loud. I'm so loud. I'm so in people's faces. I've learned to love it. Like for so long I always tried to like suppress that and like
Yeah.
stop being that person because everyone was like, "Oh my God, can you stop?" And I'm like, and one day I was like, "Actually, no, I'm not going to
Yeah.
stop
Yeah.
doing that."
No.
Like, and it's so funny though, because like some of my friends will be like, Skylar, calm down. And I know it's like out of love and not like out of like, shut the
Yes.
fuck up, you know? But
Mm.
so like, but there's so many times where I'm just like, I love this. I love that I'm just being me and I
Yeah.
don't care anymore. And it's so funny because there was this one girl that I am friends with now, and she's like, I didn't really like you to begin with. And I was like, I know, why? I was like, why didn't you like me?
Yeah.
And it's so funny because she's like, I genuinely like am so jealous of how confident you are. And I'm like, me confident? No.
No.
But it's just the way that I carry myself, and I
And
go out and I'm like, whatever. I'm just gonna do my own thing. And I think
yeah.
parts of me are confident, but I think it's like I have a very fake it till you make it kind of outlook on
Yeah.
things. I'm just kind of like, I'm gonna be me, and if you don't like it, whatever. But also at the same time, I will go home and think about that embarrassing moment for the
Yeah,
rest
of
of my
course.
life.
Yeah, no, of course. I just think that there is that freedom within. I mean, that's why this is called the authentic life. It's like there is that freedom within finding your authenticity. And I get there's a
Yeah.
balance and a time and a space and all that stuff for certain things, but it's like there is that freedom that comes within being just who you are,
Yeah.
without labels and like your Skylar Love, and why we have to say like I'm an artist and this is what I do and I'm gay or I'm ADHD or anything like that is so crazy that we do talk about that
Yeah.
because those are those boxes that fit us in and until the world changes, that's just how it's going to be. But you're Skylar Love. That's who you are. And everything
Yeah.
that comes within it is absolutely amazing. And until it gets to that point, I think the world is just missing out on people.
That's what I'm saying, because you're missing out on fun, on
Yeah.
cool stuff. Like there's so much life to live and so many
Yeah.
cool things to do, and you're missing out on it
Yeah.
by being miserable. So don't be
Yeah.
miserable. That's my takeaway from
Yeah. Don't be
it.
miserable. Well,
Ex-
I appreciate you coming on so much. Do you have any new things coming out that you want to tell people about?
Um, let's see. I just
And
had a new song called Fist Fight come out.
and it's
Yay.
great. Go listen.
Thank you. Please do. I need the streams for my 5 cent paycheck from
I know
Spotify.
it.
Um, no, I don't care about that. But then I have that show coming up that's gonna be live streamed. I'll post about it if you'd like to check out any of my socials. It's all under Skylar Love, official Skylar Love, Skylar with an A, like anarchy, rare. And yeah, I have one more little song coming out for before I put out my whole EP. So that's
Nice.
super exciting.
Okay.
Um, but yeah,
Well, I'll
I
share
have
that out
yes.
on I do social media. It's actually been a huge blessing for me and some of the people that I met. I never thought I would say that, but I do have a decent sized grouping that I share stuff with. So I'll definitely share that. And when I see that the live come out, let me know
Yes.
or I'll try and find it and share with them as well.
Oh my
Um,
goodness, yes.
I love to end the podcast with this question. If someone that you knew or didn't know was coming to you saying they were struggling significantly with anything mental health related, what are some words of advice you could give to them?
That's actually a really good question because it's like I'm like the therapist of my friends all the time, so I'm constantly giving advice. Um, I think I think I'm right now for some reason, like I'm gonna be transparent, I'm thinking about like what I would say to like if like my 8-year-old self came up to me right now or like my
Yeah.
11-year-old self, and I just feel like I would tell her, them, whatever. I feel like I would just tell her to just keep going because it truly, I know this is so cliche and so stupid, but it truly like does get better,
Mhm.
and things really do. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. Things do get better. And I look back on it because I'm so glad that I stuck it out, that I'm
Yeah.
here to this day. Because, I imagine all the things that I would have missed out on, all the things that I'm so happy that I got to accomplish that I would have never gotten to accomplish if I checked out.
Yeah.
So, and I think always prioritize yourself. Prioritize yourself to the max.
Mm.
Do what you got to do. Don't take that as weakness. Don't take you having those struggles as your weakness. Don't take reaching out for help as weakness. Take
Yeah.
it as a strength because it truly is. It's such to be able to sit up and be like, stand up and be like, "Hi, I need help." Like that's so
Yeah.
important. And so many, for so long, like I saw that as, oh, if I ask for help, that's a bad thing. But it is such, there's such beauty in it, and you can really help yourself. And so I think give yourself time, give yourself grace, let yourself heal, do what you got to do. Get medicated, don't get medicated. Do do
Yeah.
you.
Do what's right for
Just be
you.
happy.
No, I love that. Well, I appreciate you coming on. I
Thank you
will,
so much for having me.
of course, it was great, great, great
This was so
conversation.
fun. I love
Yeah,
this.
yeah. So, all right, so I'll end it there. And
Okay, cool.
what I'll do is it probably won't come out till the first week in January, just because
Yeah,
I have like it backed up. But what I'll do is I'll create some little clips and then I'll tag you in it on the social media.
yeah.
Whatever social media that you're on. I think I found you on Instagram and Facebook, I think, and
Okay, yeah, yeah, I
a
think
couple.
so.
Okay.
I don't
So
know. That's what
I'll
I'm usually on.
yeah, I'll go find you on there. And what I'll do is I'll just tag you on that so you have that. And then when it comes out, I'll shoot you over the link for it and I'll go
Yes.
through and do the editing and all those things. And if you ever want to come on, like I said, and talk about mental health or anything like that again, or you do another song you want to, feel free to reach out to me. I mean, I'm just my heart is to help people know that they're not alone.
Yeah,
And I feel like you have that same heart too. And then I'll try and
definitely.
connect you with Rebel. She's my friend that
Yes.
lives there in Murfreesboro, and she does what did we do? Last time I went, we did there's not the Grand Opry, but there's that big hotel that's there.
Oh,
Um,
the Gaylord.
the Gaylord. So there's that story about the Gaylord family and things like that. So she did an investigation there.
Wait, I
And
didn't
then
know that.
yeah, there's a really cool story about it. They say that like the woman, Miss Gaylord, roams the property, is what they say.
I
And
always thought that place was haunted. I
it
always
is.
thought I felt some weird energy every time I've ever gone in there. I'm like, this place is weird. Like I feel like it's haunted. Now it's just like confirm because I had no idea about that.
Yes,
Oh my
no,
God.
it is. They say sometimes, and now I stayed there because the company I was working for sent me there, and I actually met Rebel through TikTok, so it was this weird, like random circumstance. But I was like, I am not going to stay a place that's haunted. Well, I didn't have a choice. So I was like, that's just not my thing. Like I can do mediumship and readings and I teach about crystals and have a shop and all that stuff,
Yeah,
but Rebel does all the paranormal. And so she did there, and she loves to go to downtown Nashville to the cemetery. And then
that
she
too.
does a lot of the what is it? Civil Wars
I was about
cemetery.
to say I literally live like I'm not even joking. Like I live 5 minutes, maybe at most, away from the Andrew Jackson Hermitage House. And
Okay.
then I also live like literally right next to the Civil War Cemetery.
Okay.
It's
Yeah, no, I'll
yeah,
connect you because she does it
please.
all. She does them. She has like the cat balls and she has all the different stuff. And she's one of the only people that I really, really trust because she's very kind, right? And she'll say, "Does anybody have anything they want to say to me?" And or need help. And she's had such great evidence come back. Like someone will say their name is Travis and it'll say like a number and then she can go and look it up and it'll be like he was in this army and all these different things. And so
That's
yeah,
crazy.
it's really really neat that she does it. It's like I said, it's not I will go with her. But it's not something like I have orbs that go around in here when I teach and stuff. They'll be like, "Hey, did you see that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I did, but that's fine. It's here." But she does every time we go on vacation or we meet or anything like that, we'll always go somewhere to a cemetery and just let her do her thing. So yeah.
Oh my God, that's so
Yeah.
cool. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
yeah.
No, it's so true. You really have to do like figure out the right people to trust with that kind of stuff
Yeah.
because like and there's so many like assholes who do like investigations who are like, I'm gonna provoke the ghost. Like, why?
I know. And as much as like you really would want to have like activity, it's like provoking. You're just literally like Rebels taught me so much because it's like, well, you could ask them like push me down, or whatever. And it's like, they don't have a time frame like you do. So when in
No,
10 years, when
exactly.
you're like at the top of stairs and you fall down, like they pushed it down.
That's what I'm saying. People don't understand. Like I truly believe that there's a whole different other time that goes
Yeah.
on there.
Yeah.
Like I believe there's a future there.
Yeah.
I feel like there's they're responding to it's weird. It's
Yeah.
it's so unknown. That's why I love it and so
Yeah.
freaky. But I find comfort in it because it's like
Yeah.
I have a ghost that I have talked to a million times over off of my spirit box, and I also have an ovulus, and
Okay.
I've talked to him over and over again. His name is Robert. He will not stop talking to me. He keeps telling me he wants to be my friend, and I'm like, Robert, we can be friends, but you cannot attach yourself to me and start following me around
Yeah.
everywhere.
That's a whole,
That's what I'm saying.
yeah.
And then he talks all the time. There was a bird that was knocking on our thing. Oh my gosh, our door. And we thought what if this was paranormal? We ended up finding out that it was a bird. But it was the first time in a while that we turned on the spirit box. Ended up saying, I was like, is anyone here? Ended up saying Robert. And I'm like, oh my God. He always comes
Yeah.
every time I ask. I've talked to my grandpa through the spirit box. I don't know if you know about this, but there's this thing called the Estes method. Have you ever
Yeah.
heard of
Yeah.
it?
Mhm.
Yeah. So I'm able to do it so well. It's something that I will brag about and be like, haha,
Yeah.
look at me, I can do this. Because I love doing it because you become this conduit for these
Mhm.
spirits to travel through and talk through. And so my grandpa passed away of cancer in 2022, I think. And so 2 years ago, and we moved here basically after it happened. So we hadn't really seen my family in a little while, my grandma and my aunts and my cousins. So we ended up going back to Pennsylvania for over the winter, I think. And we were there for a little bit. And so I brought the spirit box and did the Estes method. And I was in it for so long. I was in it for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
But I literally had my hands over my eyes and I was rocking back and forth and I couldn't hear anything they were saying. I was just listening to everything that was going through the headphones. And and we got the craziest stuff. I literally told them to go get a record thing that my grandpa had, and they brought it in, and I literally guided them to find this one record that he was
Oh,
talking
I
about.
love
And
that. Yeah.
they started playing it, and then he started asking about my dad because my dad was back in Tennessee. It was just me and my mom who went. And it was so crazy because they called my dad and I started having a conversation with my dad, but it was my grandpa, and my dad was like, hey, I'm gonna drink for you, by the way. And I said something along the lines of yeah, the one with the star on it, which is Heineken, and that was his favorite
Oh,
beer.
I love that.
It was so
Yeah.
wild. It was
No,
wild.
no, that whole everything. In I say in the group, but tonight on Mondays and Wednesdays at 6 p.m., I always teach on TikTok, and we always talk about mental health or something. And
Yeah.
sometimes it'll happen to where I don't go looking for mediumship stuff, but if a spirit wants something to come through, then I feel like I have to, or they're going to stay with me, and I don't really want them staying with me. So I
Yeah.
give the message. And so they'll always say, Kitty, not a medium, Kitty is what they'll say. But it's so interesting, the things that come through to connect. And so for me, it's that to me is enough proof that there is something after this. Now, is it scary when we're going to go through that death process? It might be, but there is something different.
Oh
There's
yeah,
something
there's a
over
whole
there, or
yeah, there's a whole
so,
nother life,
yeah.
and I think that's so
Yeah.
powerful and so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, it was so good
absolutely.
to meet you. And then
Me
I'm sure we will
too.
talk again.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of The Authentic Life with KL, where we explore the powerful intersection of healing and music. If you enjoyed today's episode, please give a follow and share with your friends. You can find more information about The Authentic Life with KL and Kitty Lynn at kittylynn.com, KITTYLYNNE.com. Thanks so much for listening.